Hey, howdy, hey, friends and neighbors. Scott here, and today I would like to look at Ginkgo biloba, the ginkgo tree. This is a really handy one. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this at some point. Probably just because I don't have any around me, so I don't think of them as being a native edible. Although you're going to find them planted in landscaping a lot, especially in cities. They're real popular, and it's a super useful medicinal plant. So let's take a look at this. I think that you're going to like this one. For identification purposes, this is really easy, and you are not going to find any lookalikes. This is a great plant for beginning foragers, beginning herbal medicine makers. It has a fan-shaped leaf with two lobes and parallel leaf veins, and that's pretty much all you need to know. It's a tree that has a fan-shaped leaf. There are two leaf lobes. You saw the picture on that first slide, and the leaf lanes don't crisscross like a net are branching out. They run side by side, kind of like in a blade of grass, a parallel veination. The tree itself is pyramid shaped. It makes a really good shade tree, pretty big, and the fall is really pretty yellow. The foliage, I'm sorry, in the fall is a very pretty yellow. And while it's native to China, and then I think it was brought to Japan, where it was, air quotes, discovered uh, by somebody, and since then it's spread all over the world. You can find it in, like I say, in landscaping. It's a really popular specimen tree for people. So as long as you're somewhere zones 3 through 8A, you've got a chance of finding one of these in cultivated areas. And if not, get one and start growing it. I've got one ordered myself because I thought, well, why am I not doing this? When the zombies come, I keep saying when the zombie apocalypse comes, we're not going to have the internet. We're not going to be able to order our herbs off of Amazon.com or Mountain Rose Herb or wherever you get them. So you want to grow as much stuff as you can. So I'm going to try to put in a ginkgo tree or two and see what I can do with those. Um, I didn't make normally I'll make a slide for the edible uses, but I've never eaten the nuts off the ginkgo tree. I'm just going to mention here that the cleaned seeds, once they're roasted, are supposed to be edible, but I don't have any personal experience from that, so I don't want to try to. I don't like to try to sound um, educated on things that I don't really have any experience with. I do try to avoid that. Okay, let's look at the medicinal properties, of which there are many. Now, traditionally, it's the seed that was looked at in traditional Chinese medicine. I'm not really going to focus on that. I think the seed and the leaf have a pretty interchangeable use. Over the last about 50 years or so, the leaf has gotten a lot of scientific attention in a lot of studies, and it's been brought up as probably I would guess a more popular herbal medicine, and it's certainly more available. You can get the leaf a lot more often and a lot more of them than you can the seeds. And I believe that the leaf has been incorporated into the Chinese materia medica too, if I remember. This plant is great for many reasons, but also because it's gentle. It's a good beginning herbalist plant because it doesn't just grab you and shake you around and do its effect to you, like sit down and listen here, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to clear this out. Um, it's gradual. Pardon. It's gradual and just gentle with you. It takes about 6 to 10 weeks for you to see the full effects. So don't think you're going to take a spoonful and just be running around drugged out of your gourd. That's not how this plant works. It's not sudden and it's not forceful. Let's look at the actual properties. There are a bunch. Look at all this. It's anti-inflammatory. That's great. We have too much inflammation, so let's knock some of that down. It's a vasodilator, and what it really does, what it's really good at, is increasing peripheral circulation. So circulation to fingertips and your toes, to parts of your body that may not get really good circulation. If constantly, if your fingers and your toes get cold, or your ears get cold, or if you had diabetes and you have circulation problems, this would be a really good plant to look into at the very least, because it helps to it lowers the blood viscosity is what it does, so that it has an anti PAF, what is that, platelet activating factor. It works against the platelet activating factor to it's sort of like it makes your blood slipperier, where it can slide into the little teeny tiny capillaries and get into where it needs to go. Um, Protects against ischemia. It's a relaxant, and I don't mean that it's going to knock you out. Like I've been really emphasizing, it's very gentle. It's more of a stress modulator. It just helps you not get so worked up about the things that bother you. You're not inhibited in any way. You're just more moderate in your response, more appropriate in your response. It's also a digestive bitter. I mean, that's worth mentioning. It's not the main reason people take this, but it is. It helps you to it stimulates the secretion of digestive juices to help you properly digest foods. It's a uterine stimulant, an energy stimulant. And when I say that, I don't mean like caffeine. I mean it's not just giving you a buzz. It's increasing your blood flow to your areas, all the to your areas, to your entire body. Think about like if you were driving your car, but you had some limiter on how much gas could get to the engine, and so you really have a lot of trouble driving up hills or just getting to work and back. And then say one day somebody takes the limiter off, and you can put as much gas into the engine as you want, and now it's like you're driving a brand new car. Uh, Even though it's the same car, it feels like a brand new one because now you can run up the hills and you can go and go and go. That's kind of what Ginkgo does. It's increasing your blood flow to all the various tissues of your body, so it's increasing the oxygenation, it's increasing the nutrition level to your whole body. So you just feel like you have more energy. Suddenly your body has access to all of the resources you've been, storing, and you can get up and go. It also has some really interesting neuroprotective properties. It protects nerve tissue, brain tissue, nerve cells. It can be useful with uh, Alzheimer's disease. I was really stumbling on that word. I just could not get that out for some reason. Yeah, Alzheimer's disease. Um, Cognitive speed, cognitive ability, learning, memory. And interestingly, it can improve cases of tinnitus. Now, if you have a lot of tinnitus, I'm not saying that this is some magic bullet that's just going to make it zip go away, but it could have a significant effect. Uh, a lot of times, tinnitus is related to the blood flow, and if that happens to be the case for you, I mean, might as well try it, right, and see if it helps out. And for vertigo as well. Again, there are a lot of things that can cause vertigo, so it may be something that the ginkgo addresses, and it may not, but it's worth a shot, right? It can increase your tolerance to hypoxia. That's low oxygen. It helps to prevent damage to nerve cells from low oxygen, which we generally want to avoid that. That is a bad thing. We don't want our brain cells to die from a low oxygen environment. Um, or any of our body cells. We generally want to avoid cells dying, generally. And it can reduce edema around the brain. There were these studies where there was intentionally induced brain damage. This was not on humans, of course. And the ginkgo leaf extract helped to reduce the swelling and the fluid buildup around the brain after that damage. So um, that's handy. That's a good thing. One of the things that's really interesting to me, as I know I have a lot of new people on the group, but I have been working on regaining my eyesight. I mean, I can see I'm not blind, but uh, healthy, like 20/20 eyesight, because I've worn glasses for many, many years since I was a small child. And I eventually decided, well, I'm done with this nonsense. Let's get rid of these glasses. And so I've been trying various strategies, exercises, stretches, and nutritional things, herbs, to work on my eyesight. And I've had a lot of success with that. I'm really moving right along. But I've started incorporating ginkgo into my herb regimen to see if I can help with it's mostly a blood flow thing. It may have other effects directly on the eyes themselves, but from the bit that I've read about it, it seems to be that blood flow thing. It helps to get fresh nutrients, fresh oxygen in there, so that your eyes can work to their optimal potential. So I'll keep you updated on that. Um, It can help to prevent or help with congestive circulatory issues, heart attack, that kind of thing. That's always good to not have those. It can help prevent damage from free radicals. And this one I thought was really particularly interesting, that it protects mitochondrial function during cellular stress. The reason that grabbed my attention, and it ought to grab your attention, is because there are some people that believe that cancer is a mitochondrial disease. That's an oversimplification, but that they believe that cancer starts in the mitochondria and it has to do with stress and damage to mitochondrial function. So that leads me to believe that ginkgo might very well be a cancer preventative or cancer treatment plant, and I have some potential for that, and that might be something we all want to be looking into. Now, what do you take and how much do you take of it? Online, if you don't have a tree growing in your yard or you're waiting for your tree to grow up, you can either buy leaf powder or you can buy leaf extract. And first, I'll just tell you a suggestion of how much you want to take. This is really, it's not like a hard and fast rule. You can adjust it some for your body size or your metabolism or your own personal affinity for the plant. Sometimes a certain plant just speaks to you. You and the plant really get along. Like for me, peppermint and rosemary and oat straw. Those are three plants that we all get along really well. We just have a great time, and I can take a lot of those plants and I get a lot of benefit from them. So, you might have a special affinity for ginkgo and you might want to use more. Or you might not even need to use as much. But if you use the whole leaf powder, a general recommended quantity for one day might be 4 to 16 grams of the powder, depending on the leaf quality. Or if you get an extract, a powdered extract, where they pull out the medicinal constituents, you might want to be somewhere around 120 to 240 milligrams of a 50 to 1 standardized extract with about 24% ginkgo flavone glycosides. Big fancy words. You can look on the bag or the bottle. They make these in pills too. I tend to try to get whole plant products as much as I can. I'm not against extracts at all. Now, you may find a really great one, and I'm not against herbal pills and supplements. It's just every step you take along the way, the more processed it is, the more chance there is of something going wrong or somebody slipping in kind of a filler herb. There's been a lot of talk about shady herb company practices. Some of the big companies, well, maybe some of the small companies, I don't know. Trying to make a better profit margin, slipping in some filler material in there. And the more you process things, there's more chance for the medicinal constituents to be damaged, maybe by heat or by chemicals. And there's often more chance for side effects. A really good example of that is aspirin. You take aspirin for headaches or aches and pains, but it can also cause stomach upset. It's real rough on your stomach. But the plant that aspirin was derived from, the spirea, or a spirea is out of spirea. That's where the word aspirin comes from. Or from the willows have the same type of chemical in them. You can use them for stomach upset because they soothe it. Because they're not just that main aspirin, chemical. Plants have a whole host of chemicals in them, and if you just pull out whatever you believe is the active compound for whatever you're trying to treat, it might be really effective at treating that one compound, treating that one condition. Sorry, but the compound itself may have some side effects, and when you took it in the whole plant form, there were a lot of chemicals in there, and some of them might have protected you from the side effects or countered them in some way. And when you pull out just the isolated, just the isolated compound, sometimes there are unforeseen, side effects, and that's sort of the strength and weakness of modern pharmaceutical drugs. They are usually very potent and very powerful because they have extracted just that one or two, or three compounds that have the specific effect that they're looking for. But then they also come with a lot of side effects. Nausea or vomiting, headache, whatever. If you look at the back of your medicines in your medicine cabinet, it's terrifying. Um, and the whole plants typically don't. There are very few cautions with this plant because it's generally very safe for long-term use too. In fact, you want to use it long-term because it takes about 6 to 10 weeks to build up to full effect. Sometimes it's nice to take a couple of weeks off with some plants after you've taken it for a while, just to give your body a little chance to rest from it. And I mean, think of like ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream, right? But if you eat ice cream at every meal, eventually it's just not as exciting to you. You don't get as excited. And then if you take a week off and then you have a cup of ice cream, oh, it's brand new again. Ice cream is wonderful. You can think of herbal medicines a lot like that too, even on these long-term ones. Um, Very few reported side effects or drug interactions, even in people that have been taking a lot of different drugs and ginkgo. Which is not to say that you can, take it with abandon. It's still a good idea always to talk to your doctor, or especially to talk to a doctor that has experience with herbs, because most doctors, if you say, "Hey, can I take this herb with my medicines?" they're probably going to say no, because that is the smart answer for them, because they don't know what this herb does. They know what the medicine does, but they don't know what the herb does. They don't know if it's going to interact with it or counteract it or have a synergistic reaction, and that's scary. They're trying to take care of you, so it is the smart thing for them to say no. But it may be the case that the herb would be perfectly safe. So it's good to talk to a doctor that has experience with drugs and herbs, so they don't just summarily say no to any herb that you want to take. Uh, Possibly, this could have some additive effects with other antiplatelet agents, blood thinning type of stuff. In really high doses, I think there have been rare uh, cases of bleeding. Uh, so, if you have a bleeding issue, you might want to stay away from the higher end. You might want to consult your doctor just in general. Or if you knew you had a surgery coming up, especially if you tend to bleed a lot, you might not want to be on this during that. Although a lot of the warnings about it, I think, have been overblown. But still, let's not be reckless. Use caution, use good sense, and I really think that you will have a good time with this plant if you choose to pursue it and try it out or grow it. It's just a really amazing plant. I'm really glad that we have it. And that's going to wrap this little video essay PowerPoint presentation up. And it's time for my shameless plug. If you're looking for more information or you want to support the anti-zombie efforts, why don't you just web surf your way on over to patreon.com/foragersguide, and you can see some of the bonus things we have over there. The ebook, soon to be another ebook, soon as probably after this 31-day video challenge is over, because this takes a lot of time. But I'm almost done with that other ebook. We have other videos. We have other written essays, lots of other information. You can check out the different bonuses offered at the different tiers, but it starts at just $1 a month. What were you using a dollar for? Hey, $1. That's nothing. That's easy for me to say. I'm the one asking for the dollar. Okay, thanks for watching and listening. I will have another video tomorrow on something. I don't know yet. Until next time, though, I do want you to keep your eyes out for plants and zombies and ginkgo trees. I guess that's covered in the plants. And happy foraging. Talk to you later, everybody.